Hello everyone. Greetings from Halifax, Canada. I am Suresh Neethirajan, professor with a joint appointment between the Faculty of Computer Science and the Faculty of Agriculture at Dalhousie University. Today we are just looking at how do we go about advancing farm animal welfare from the context of instrumentation. How understanding the limitations of automation in high throughput phenotyping and addressing contextual dependencies. Before we jump in, just a brief background about the significance and importance of high throughput phenotyping. So, high throughput phenotyping, of course, allows us to do large scale data collection. For example, right now, when we look at the World Organization for Animal Health from Europe, they have a bigger mandate in terms of real-time acquisition and collection of data from farm animals so that the decisions can be made in near real time. From the genomics breeding perspective, also there is a immediate need for very accurate, context-dependent, large-scale animal phenotypic information is needed for developing welfare indicators. So when we acquire all of these data, we give emphasis on non-invasiveness. It's better if the animals does not wear any sensors, preferably using computer vision, image processing techniques. Uh, the high throughput systems facilitate the real time monitoring of behavior such as feeding, social interactions, physiological states, such as even we can measure the heart rate, the sound, the vocalization of poultry birds, the squealing and coughing of the pigs, and the moo call of cows. All of these signatures, data can be acquired to make meaningful sense about the emotions of these animals, understand the affective states of these animals. So there are three major pillars in the automated monitoring systems. Obviously, the data collection here, cameras, sensors, and microphones. We use them to collect large volumes of data on the activity indices of the animals, facial expressions, the cues of the behavior, subtle iceberg indicators of the welfare of the animals, physiological behavior, welfare, and health related information. Then we go about using deep learning or machine learning data to be able to understand, to process these information to make more sense in the development of decision support. So when we look at the current trend, the current reality is right now most of the data is collected in a unimodal way. Like either we put a camera in a farm from academic scientific perspective, but also from industry perspective, that's about it. There is a strong strive, aspiration to assess the weight of the body of the cows, the chickens, and pigs just based on video camera and images, understanding the disease related incidences with the goal of developing prescriptive analytics based on behavioral information from the morphology, texture, the gait or the walking pattern of the animals, and so on. So there are three major theories we rely upon in terms of understanding the animal pain, the emotions of the animal, cognitive bias theory. So the idea here is animals in the negative emotional states tend to interpret ambiguous stimuli more negatively. But when the animals are in positive emotional states, they tend to interpret ambiguous cues, of course, in a more positive manner. So that's what the cognitive bias theory tells us. So it's an important tool for us to assess, characterize, measure emotional states in animals because they tend to be a bit more sensitive than other traditional methods like sucrose preference tests and other biochemical measurement tests. The second theoretical framework with which we can look at measuring emotions and affective states is a dimensional model of emotion. So we can map the emotions with two dimensions. One is valence, which is basically the positivity or the negativity of the emotion, and then the arousal, intensity or the activation level of the emotion. So, this framework allows the researchers to categorize and measure emotions more precisely so that we can have a better nuanced understanding of the affective states. The third one is the predictive processing framework. So, animals tend to use past experiences, their memory, to be able to anticipate outcomes in similar situations. So, there is a bit of adaptive mechanism that happens that allows the animals to respond appropriately to ambiguous stimuli. So, if there is a grayscale gray zone, then they tend to look from the past experiences based on their memory. So if an animal is in distress, they make very less positive responses to the ambiguous cues. So these frameworks guides in terms of interpreting the animal emotions using the high throughput phenotyping. It's more of a theoretical basis, but it also helps us to develop the sensitive and much more specific measures of a variety of emotional states. So when we do, per herd versus per flock approach, for example, we tend to make for management decisions per animal for cows and pigs, mainly because of the larger size of the animals. But it's more of a per herd, a per flock approach in the chickens and poultry and laying hens. So this also plays a role in terms of, hey, how do we go about selecting a specific framework in unraveling the affective states? Um, so the assessment of large number of animals quickly and efficiently can be decided based on specific context. So this allows us to really gain much more deeper insights into the animal emotions and behavior and help us to come up with the effective treatment strategies for a variety of conditions. When I read, recently papers in terms of using a variety of instruments, sometimes it's baffling for me. For example, there is a group, they put a thermal camera sensor in the ceiling and they were looking at flocks of chickens moving around, and they made bold claims that they can go about measuring heat stress. And then I looked up the instrument makeup, read the technical data sheet. Similarly, another group, they were using a low-end thermal camera to capture videos on images of dairy cows and pigs. When I read the technical data sheet, the sensitivity, the resolution, the accuracy is very, very poor. Sometimes it says plus or minus 5 degrees Celsius, which means the data that's collected is really not helpful in understanding what exactly is going on. Again, it's more of a surface reflectance. So the distance between the camera lens to the object, in this case, either chicken or dairy cow or pig, they are never constant. They always move around. That's the nature of the animal. So how do we take into account in terms of understanding, creating the better accuracy in developing the indices? So although there is a bit of development in advancement systems, because of the lack of understanding of the working principle, the mode of action of some of the instruments, sometimes animal scientists tend to make mistakes unintentionally and end up making bold statements. So we have to be very careful in terms because it can significantly affect the results. Uh, so we have to look at it in a proper way. The second thing is species identification. For example, from our group, we developed a tool called Chick Track. When a human being walk into a poultry barn, almost all of the chickens look alike. Broilers, especially white in color, similar shape. If there are tens of thousands of chickens in the same, now we have the capability using advanced AI models, YOLO, and other modeling approaches, up to, if there are 500 chickens in a particular frame, we can say with almost 95% accuracy detecting and classifying all of those 500 chickens in a very sophisticated, clear accuracy. So animals with uniform characteristics, such as the chickens in large flocks, or even sometimes at a long distance, when we look at beef cattle or dairy animals, the gait pattern and the morphology look alike. So the posture also plays a significant difficulty in terms of individual identification. So when we develop solutions in terms of acquiring data, measuring data to a specific species, we have to make sure that extensive validation and refinement processes are properly followed here. So, of course, this leads us to look at the context-aware high-throughput phenotyping systems and a more informed use of technology. So it's not really a plug and play approach. We have to grasp the complexities involved for meaningful insights, a deeper understanding of the technologies, and more importantly, the technical limitations has to be better understood when we collect the data and analyze the data. One of the key limitations of current automated systems is their failure to account for contextual dependencies. It could be environment, social dynamics, and even individual differences. They belong to the same breed, same age group, similar exposure to environmental conditions and feeding, etc. But still, there are variability associated to it. So that need to be taken into account. Um, uh, Most of the time, when we look at the automated systems and the data collection unit from the instrumentation perspective, what we currently see is that their primary focus is on negative affective states, negative emotional measurement, stress, fear, etc. The tools are primarily focused on that. Currently, there is a lack of tool in terms of looking at assessing positive states like a playfulness or curiosity. So there has to be a shift in terms of negative to positive. I know right now, as we speak, there is an initiative happening in Horizon EU along these lines in terms of unraveling positive welfare states of farm animals. That's quite promising because of the focus and the efforts currently happening. So the issue right now here is animal behaviors like playing or exploration. They are heavily context dependent. So the type of play and the intensity associated to it, the frequency can really vary a lot. So we have to really look into the aspects of the quality of the environment. If one animal perceives another animal, for example, in terms of calving process, the mother cow perceives the other other cows in the surrounding zones. They don't like it. They like a bit more spacing. So the perception of presence of other animals also plays a significant role. The individual animal characteristics have to be taken into account. So current systems overlook these nuances. So of course, we don't get a complete picture of welfare assessment, pain, and other emotional indices properly. So if we really want to understand the animal's emotional state truly, we need to have a ability to capture a broader range of behaviors within the specific context. So the context plays really an important role. When we talk about behavioral responses in animals like play, exploratory behavior, or even affiliative interactions, the context is basically everything. For example, let's say a play, the type of play, how often it occurs, also depends on other factors. So let's basically look into an example here. In the infographic, if you look at this, it's basically a high-tech biometric facial recognition systems. Cameras are deployed along the walls as well as in the ceilings that continuously capture. There is a option to do DigiD, tracking and creating individual digital identification system for specific cows. So the system knows based on the RFID tag and also based on the unique morphological and facial features, it has the cow ID. So it can make specific call accordingly. So every cow is tracked using facial recognition to monitor the behavior, health, and individual feeding needs, etc. So the cameras not just look at the data collection of the cows, but also understand and provide the context here. So how often one cow is interacting with another cow? What is the social network analysis? Are there any subtle changes in behavior that could emerge as a iceberg indicator, or a subtle indicator of stress or illness or pain? This amount of information then can possibly be used for personalized care and development of decision support tools and high throughput systems. So the context aware technology is not just futuristic. From the research perspective, it's already happening. So we can now do tailor-made welfare strategy development by recognizing the complex interplay between the animal's behavior, animals' interaction with other animals, and also the environment in which the animal is present, and the social dynamics. So this really helps to understand in a much more profound, individualist way of measuring affective states in farm animals. Now, when we're looking at addressing the contextual dependencies, how do we go about it? First, a multifactorial assessment is needed. By right now, when we read many papers, even when we visit industry and other experimental research stations, 90% of the time, the data is collected as a unimodal. They put a camera and collect either video or images. They put some accelerometer, RFID tag, and only one type of data is collected. So in a philosophical perspective, it is like, if there is a huge wall that separates the viewer and a beautiful forest on the other side. So by having one unimodal data, they drill a hole in the wall and look through the hole, the beautiful valley, the forest and waterfalls. If it's a bimodal, they drill two holes. But what if we can jump above the wall and have a holistic view of the beauty of the nature? So that is the concept of multimodality, multifactorial assessment, combining behavior, physiology, welfare, through a variety of data that comes from images, videos, audio, sound vocalization, physiological, biomedical, biochemical signal, environmental quality. So they come in different formats also. So if we can tune in, if we can synthesize and characterize and assess and analyze and crunch all of those data, fuse them, integrate, then that provides a beautiful holistic way of understanding the animal in a multifactorial, multimodal manner in determining and truly understanding the affective states of the animals. So we also have to consider social and temporal aspects. So social dynamics, how the chickens, group of chickens, they interact with the rest of the group of the chickens, although they are present thousands of them in the same flock. How one animal is interacting with the other cow. So this herd interactions and temporal factors like circadian rhythms, various life stages. We have calve, we have a adult cow and the cow that's about to go dry. So even from the chickens, we look at the different weeks of the life stages of the chickens, poultry, egg layers and broilers. So they play a very significant role in how animals behave. So when we integrate these variables, we can do a much more better, accurate assessment of the pain and the emotions and affective states. The third one I would say is the integrative assessment. So we combine, we fuse, we integrate qualitative behavioral observation with objective data like sensor readings. So then we have a better understanding, nuanced understanding of the animal's welfare state. Of course. So we have a continuous automated real-time data collection unit that's installed. Now, algorithms play a role. These algorithms has to be adaptive enough so that the systems can update and adjust their assessment as the context changes, providing a much more dynamic and accurate understanding of the welfare of indicators of the farm animals. So the adaptive algorithm can continuously refine its understanding based on the flow of multimodal data into the form. Then the decision support can be done. So as we move forward, there are three significant opportunities I think we have to consider. For example, um, interdisciplinary collaboration is crucial. We need to bring together animal scientists, veterinarians, computer scientists, and data analysts to tackle the complex challenges. Every discipline, for example, I just gave an example a while ago when an animal scientist conduct an experiment without involving an instrumentation or an engineering background, the data collected becomes meaningless because of the lack of understanding of the working principle, the mode of action, sensitivity, accuracy associated with the instrument. When the neuroscientist, he or she, they or them, they may have a very strong, bold idea, very strong headed vision of doing things in a specific way, but without collaboration, they lack the practical implementation possibilities due to missing some of the links related to the actual comprehensive nature of the data. So when we combine the contextual data with advanced analytics, we can really create data-informed decisions. So when we integrate data from multiple sources, we can gain actionable insights that could lead to better welfare practices. So we really can develop more effective strategies to improve animal welfare on a very large scale through integrating contextual dependencies and a better understanding of this. Here, I just want to point out a recent study we did in this past summer here at Dalhousie University. It's about pain measurement in dairy cows using bimodal data, facial recognition, using facial features, ear, eye, and the tightening of the snout, along with the accelerometer data. So from a generic perspective, when we look at pain measurement in farm animals, memory plays a fascinating role. An animal's ability to remember and perceive pain can be a double-edged sword. but pain is actually serving as a vital self-preservation mechanism. So it influences the behavior and welfare in much more profound ways. So what we are looking at here is we collected this accelerometer data, almost 40 terabytes of videos and images over several months from multiple dairy cows. So we were able to capture diverse traits at once, simultaneously. And then we also experienced the challenge of monitoring the complex animal behavior in real time. So we used an artificial intelligence model that fuses DenseNet 121 for image analysis with LSTM model for processing the time series accelerometer data. So the methodology, the approach that we have developed as the capability to automate the processing of large volumes of data quickly and efficiently, which is really crucial for high throughput phenotyping in commercial farms. We started with 6 farms and scaled up to a bunch of dairy cows, and then a large commercialized farm. The scalability seems to be promising based on the infusion and the enabling capabilities of the AI that we used in our approach here. Of course, this non-invasive, just an accelerometer and remotely collecting video and image data randomly. So we also explored a mobile app, the possibility of real-time data capture, processing in Amazon Web Services using cloud, and see if it can enable farmer for near real-time decision support. So there are a variety of contextual settings we factored in here. For example, the cows usually go outside for walking and exercise, before exercise, after exercise, before feeding, after feeding, morning, afternoon, and evening. The role of diurnal pattern in the various mobility activity, how long they are sitting, how long they are standing, and all kinds of nuances, moment to moment data, like every 30 seconds data, were analyzed to understand the expression of pain as a subtle indicator, as an iceberg indicator, to compare between lame cows versus non-lame or a healthy cow. Well, I kind of throw a bunch of ideas here in an abstract way. Also gave a couple of examples from the work we have done in terms of animal pain measurement using image processing, vocalization techniques using chickens, such as natural language processing, semantics. We now have the capability, because of artificial intelligence, to decode what exactly the animals are saying in a way that humans can understand. So moving forward, I would say collaboration and context are two important things. So if you want to advance high throughput phenotyping technologies, cross-disciplinary collaboration is absolutely essential. So when we bring together animal scientists, neuroscientists, agricultural biological engineers, data scientists, computer scientists, veterinarians, then this combination, we can really address the limitations of the current automated phenotyping challenges. For example, data management, species-specific issues, challenges, contextual dependencies, etc. So again, multimodality, multifactorial assessment, real-time monitoring, and interdisciplinary teamwork, we really can now push the boundaries of animal welfare research and measuring animal pain and developing new strategic solutions via research and development. Again, understanding context is not really just a bonus, it's crucial for gaining accurate, actionable insights into animal welfare. Together, by joining hands, we can make this a reality. Thank you so much.